Welcome to Relationship Exposed. In today's video, we unravel a quiet storm, one that brews silently inside a home where everything looks perfect from the outside. A beautiful family, steady income, the kind of predictability most people spend their whole lives craving. But under the surface, there's doubt, there's distance, and eventually, there's a choice that will test the very soul of love. This is the story of Miles and Vanessa, a husband and wife who thought they had time on their side, who thought loyalty could be assumed and that routine could protect them. But life, as always, had a different plan. And when a single thread is pulled, the whole fabric can come undone. Let's begin. Miles had always been a man who found comfort in structure, not control, not the obsessive kind, but the kind of peace that comes from knowing the rhythm of life, the precise timing of the coffee machine, the familiar click of the thermostat when it hit 72 degrees, the 3 alarm tones he cycled through every year like clockwork. He could tell you the date the mortgage was due without checking. He remembered which drawer each child kept their homework in. For over 2 decades, he and Vanessa had built a life of measured steps and daily routines that clicked into place like a well-oiled machine. 3 children: Chloe, the eldest and already away at college; Dylan, who lived in his own digital world; and Zoe, the youngest, the most emotionally attuned of them all. They had a cozy home in the suburbs, financial comfort, Sunday dinners, predictable weeks and peaceful nights. To the world, and even to Miles himself, that meant success. That meant a strong marriage. He hadn't felt sparks in years, sure, but who does after 2 decades? The spontaneous kisses became light pecks. The long conversations faded into short updates, but there was no shouting, no chaos, just a quiet, mutual agreement to keep moving forward. Love, in his eyes, had simply matured into partnership. Vanessa, always poised, seemed content in her quiet way. She no longer reached for his hand in the middle of the night. She no longer lingered when they passed in the hallway. But she was there, cooking, folding laundry, organizing schedules. And that was enough for him, at least, until Zoe noticed something that shifted everything. Zoe had a way of noticing the little things most people missed. Even as a teenager, she had the kind of intuition that could silence a room. And while her siblings were either physically absent or emotionally checked out, Zoe remained alert, watching, listening. She was folding laundry beside her mother one afternoon when she pulled out something unfamiliar, a skirt. It was bold, tight, short, not at all Vanessa's usual style. Zoe paused. "Is this new?" she asked casually. Vanessa didn't flinch. "Just updating my wardrobe a bit," she replied with a nonchalant smile. That moment stayed with Zoe, especially when she spotted a tube of bright red lipstick in the bathroom later that week. Her mother never wore red, not since her 20s. And then came the unfamiliar scent, a rich, seductive perfume that lingered on the hallway rugs and clung to Vanessa's blouses after her so-called work days. Something didn't feel right. Zoe didn't say anything, not yet. But Miles? He was still blind to it all. He buried himself in work, spreadsheets, back-to-back meetings. To him, the quiet at home meant peace. Until the quiet got disrupted, not by shouting or accusations, but by a single email, an automated credit card statement. It was the second card, the one he'd authorized for Vanessa years ago. Nothing unusual about that. But this time, something caught his eye. A dinner at a downtown restaurant, expensive, and on a Tuesday afternoon. A florist miles away from their neighborhood. Small purchases, spaced out, but strangely patterned. His chest tightened, his pulse quickened. At first, he brushed it off. Maybe she met a friend, maybe it was for a birthday. But his gut, that careful inner compass he always trusted, told him otherwise. That evening, while Zoe sat in the corner with her schoolwork, Miles asked quietly, "Have you noticed anything different with Mom lately?" Zoe didn't hesitate. Her reply was almost instant, like she'd been waiting for someone to ask. She told him about the clothes, the makeup, the perfume, and then she paused. Maybe she's just trying to feel good about herself again, she offered, softly. Maybe it's just her age. Miles nodded. He didn't say much. Didn't want to involve her any more than he already had. But in that moment, the unspoken truth tightened its grip around his heart. He knew. And knowing meant preparing. The next day, Miles met with his lawyer. Not to launch an attack, not to storm out, just to prepare. Quietly, methodically. 3 documents. A separation agreement, a postnuptial contract, and, just in case, divorce papers. It felt surreal, like watching himself from above. He'd built a life around stability, and now it was all beginning to shift. Still, he didn't explode. He didn't even confront Vanessa. Instead, he went home that night and sat through dinner, like everything was normal. Vanessa chatted as she served food, her face composed. Miles nodded, chewed, swallowed, all while silently watching her hands, her expressions, looking for cracks, clues, a flicker of guilt, but she was calm, too calm. Across the table, Zoe watched them both, with quiet eyes. She saw it too, felt the unspoken tension swirl around the room like smoke. Later, when Vanessa went to shower, Miles opened the drawer in his home office and pulled out the envelopes, 3 of them, heavy with truth, heavy with what-ifs. He sat on the edge of the bed as she returned, towel wrapped around her hair, and when he spoke, his voice was quiet, but unmistakably firm. "I need to ask you something," he said. "Is there someone else?" The silence that followed was deafening. Vanessa blinked. Her eyes widened slightly. Then came the nervous smile, the kind that tries to smooth things over. "You're being dramatic, Miles," she said softly. "It's all in your head." But he didn't look away. His gaze didn't waver. And when he repeated the question, slowly, clearly, the air shifted. Vanessa's face changed. Her shoulders slumped, ever so slightly. That was when the lies began to crumble, piece by piece, not in full. Not yet, but enough to confirm everything Miles had feared, enough to make the perfume, the restaurant, the late returns, all fall into place. He asked for the name, and she whispered, "Grant Walters, Grant." The name hit like a stone to the chest. Miles had heard it before, casually mentioned in stories from Vanessa's work, a charismatic colleague, divorced, known for being charming, funny, easy to talk to. Miles remembered how she lit up when she first mentioned him at a dinner months ago. He swallowed hard. "What did you do?" he asked, the words like gravel in his throat. Vanessa looked down, said it hadn't gone all the way, just feelings, flirting, touches, kisses, moments that nearly crossed the line, but according to her, didn't. "We stopped," she said, "because I still love you." And that stung even more, because part of him wanted to believe her. And another part screamed that the betrayal had already happened the moment she chose to feel something for another man and hide it. It didn't matter if it hadn't gone all the way. She had walked away from the life they built. She'd chosen the thrill of attention over the sacredness of loyalty. Miles left the room without another word. Vanessa didn't follow. She stood still, and in that stillness was the truth.